if this webinar is being recorded, and I would appreciate participation from everyone if they would stop me at any time during the presentation if you have a question, an idea, whatever your thoughts are. I would appreciate hearing about it. You can put your questions in the chat box or just ask, because there are not a whole lot of people here tonight. Whatever works for you. Changing the perception of Toastmasters and embracing possibilities. Are you aware that if you go on the internet and look up Toastmasters, everything that's related to Toastmasters is public speaking? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with public speaking. Don't get me wrong. But we are so much more. The general public is not aware of how much more we are. So we need to expand their minds and embrace their possibilities. And we're going to share tonight different ways in how we can do this. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to have to move the screen. It's not working. Can people see the screen in its entirety? Okay. Okay. How we're going to do this is we need to educate and inform people. We need to do it in multiple ways. Toastmasters is the best kept secret. And I couldn't believe it, because going forward, I thought that Toastmasters everybody knew about, but I was wrong. But that doesn't mean we can't change it. So we need to tell people, and I know a lot of it's going to sound same old, but it's not meant to be that way. I'm just trying to open people's minds up, get them thinking and motivated. Some things will work for some people and some things will work for others. And not a lot of this, people may realize how much can be free. As an example, radio, if you buy time on it, as in a half-an-hour time frame, it can be expensive. But a lot of particular community radio stations will do it for free if you set it up as a PSA. You can structure the PSA in a way that will benefit your Toastmaster group or Toastmasters International, depending on how you want to do it. But where you have to put the keywords in there, in addition to public speaking, the other things we can offer our communities. Television, the same way. We can do PSAs. Now, community television. Welcome, Sherry. Thanks for coming. Community television sometimes will give, particularly different times of year, will give free PSAs. You need to check out your local area. The internet, and this is such broad-based in so many levels. As you know, we have our district website. We have our Facebook. And somebody mentioned the other day, which I thought was a great idea and hadn't really thought about it, but what about live streaming on our Facebook pages as club pages? So we can show going to the meetings. We can show going to the contests. Get the connection to the public. In addition, we can also do blogs if people are so interested in and have the knowledge and background behind blogging. That would be terrific if they can do it for their clubs. There's also what they call meetups, which is an event group, and it works for some clubs and not others, where you can put your club on and say date and time of when you meet. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for some people. The other things that can be done are LinkedIn. Now, I know LinkedIn is a business site, and that's fine. How many Toastmasters have actually gone in the personal section of their Toastmasters, say, I'm a Toastmaster. You don't have to mention the club, or if you have a designation, that's entirely up to you, the information that goes on. But I think when people look up personal information on LinkedIn, it goes to your credibility. And then it's another way of getting the word out. Explaining what we have to offer and putting it in people's lives. This is the linchpin we're missing. We keep talking about all the skills and how we make leaders. And that's great. But we need to go one step further. Hang on a minute. This is not working. Let's try this. Okay. Everybody's probably seen the skills development career assessment. I didn't put all the executive positions up there. I just wanted to give you an idea. This is how we can relate to business communities and how we can show them what we have to offer. But here's the linchpin. I created a tree, and I'll explain it after I go through it. So the person who's going to be the Toastmaster, the journey starts here. They learn about confidence, understanding, support, relationships, mentorship, communications, leadership, and the new thing in our toolbox is pathways. But our flagship is public speaking, and we should be. I did this for TLI. On one side of the paper, I had, Chris, welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay. I'd like people, okay, John, thanks for letting me know. Let's try this and see if this works. Can everybody see the screen now? They should be seeing a tree.
I can.
Great. Wonderful. Okay. Thanks, John. Thanks, Linda. Okay. So I did a TLI last year, and I put the career assessment on one side and this tree on the other. And when I did the presentation, I also gave handouts. What was heartwarming to me was the fact how many people actually made the link between what we can do for our communities and how we can do it through Toastmasters and what skills we will be able to teach them. We all know about confidence and how we can build people's confidence at our meetings, and we need to find out ways of making our meetings a little bit more fun, interesting. Don't get me wrong, the basic format is fine, but we need to adjust it a little bit, I think, and that's just a personal observation. Because when Toastmasters come, one of the things that we do at our meetings when guests arrive, which I think is a wonderful idea, and probably a lot of people are doing it, but for the ones that aren't, the new potential Toastmasters that come, we always put them with a senior Toastmaster. So if they have any questions during the meeting, they can answer them. And the people at the break time usually go around and talk to the guests and ask them why they come and what brought them their interest in coming to Toastmasters, which is all great. But as the newbies come and talk to the Toastmasters, and if they're there as Toastmasters or coming as guests for a while, they can see through the public speaking and the table topics how the Toastmasters grow and how they get stronger through their journey. Communication. I didn't want to put the slide in because I've seen it recently in a number of places. The slide says, the art of communication is the language of leadership. Working on that premise, what is communication? We communicate from the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to bed at night. Why isn't that the art of communication? Can anybody answer that question? There's no such thing as a right answer, so whatever you feel is right. I got a problem here. Shane, are you there? Hello?
Hang on.
Okay.
I am.
Okay, I've got a problem. When I put up the full screen for doing the presentation, I lost the bar down the inside that tells me about chat and attendance because I had to move it out of the way so I could show the full screen. I can't see chat box or anything else. How do I remedy that? I'd either see the chat box and the attendees, or people don't get to see the whole screen. Any suggestions? Okay. Okay. All right. Just have to go back the other way. So please, if you have any questions at any time or thoughts or suggestions, just stop me and we'll address it at that time. Authentic leadership. We all need to try and have an outlook on leadership that is positive, that we can collaborate with everybody. That takes work because building bonds and trust is not an easy thing to do, particularly when you're meeting new people. One of the things, the ideas that came out of the suggestion box we put in our club, and I talked to other Toastmasters. There's a fellow by the name of Phil Lavin. A lot of people probably know them. His wife is Iris, and they're wonderful people. They're in the Dartmouth Toastmasters. He came up with the idea on the business cards, particularly for the executive, that it says on the left-hand corner below the logo, "You are invited," with all the other information on the rest of the card. So it makes it a personal invitation. And this is great because it doesn't get stashed away with the rest of the business cards that just becomes in the mess. It gives them a personal invitation, and because it's addressed to that person, they seem to take more attention to it and seem to have more interest in it. So that is part of thinking outside the box. And we need to do more of that as individuals and as in clubs and worldwide. Toastmasters are a family. It doesn't matter how small the nucleus is or how large it is, but we are a family and we help each other. And one of my things, I plan on going to the conference in May. One of my things is when somebody asks me, I said, I want to go and meet the other part of my family. I can hardly wait. Okay. Leadership and learning are indispensable for each other. Like the art of communication and communicating, they are indispensable to each other as well. The communication is the fact when we do it effectively and convey ideas effectively, then we can minimize the miscommunication, misunderstanding, and everything else that goes with it. So these are two very important quotes. Pathways is part of our new toolbox. We need to, as we go through our assessments and find out which paths we want to take and how we plan for our futures as individuals and clubs, we need to take a look at how we address it. So maybe developing a pros and cons list. Again, it's an individual and it's an individual club thing. But we need to start sharing our ideas with each other and with each other's clubs. We need to find out what works for one club may not work for another. That's great. But maybe on the whole, the ideas that are going around will work a lot more on the plus side than on the negative side. And have short-term goals to have long-term achievements. Again, that's all part of planning for the future. And with Toastmasters, so many wonderful levels and so many things we can learn. It's almost a lifetime journey in itself, depending on how fast you want to move through it. Reflecting on your path and its journey. This is another thing that helps people who are potentially going to become Toastmasters. They want to know about you and how you got into Toastmasters and what brought you, the same questions that we ask them, and how we've improved. So you can give them an incremented journey, and if they stay and become Toastmasters, they can see how you evolve and grow. And that's all part of the process as well. And they see what you achieve. It gives them not only guidance, but it gives them a feeling inside of that they can do it too. And it's how they build one of the ways they build their confidence. Happiness, the joy of achievement, and the thrill of creative effort. There's nothing like feeling inside like, hey, that worked, and you get a real high from it. And we need to find more of these highs and find more of these wonderful ideas for our clubs and for ourselves. Here are 3 keys of relationships. Now, this is sort of going backwards to years ago, because what I found recently, I say in the past year, business seems to be going backwards a bit as far as the trust and bond level is concerned. They're going back to hiring, in some areas, people who their fathers have worked for them, or their best friend has worked for them, or somebody that they know that they're hiring, they know the person who already worked for them. So that eliminates a lot of the credibility and a lot of the authentic reality of that individual, and it gives them a person that they know can trust, and it gives you the responsibility of being an authentic person and making that relationship work. But if you're already in the door because people have heard about you and know about people who are in your life and can trust them, you have an added advantage. But in Toastmasters, it's the same idea. We need to have all these skills in order to build relationships with people, with other clubs. It's all part of the process. This slide I found quite interesting. Everybody knows about the first 3 monkeys, but they don't know about the texting monkey. And the reason I bring that up is because texting has been around for years, and I don't think it's going to go away, but we need to learn how to embrace it as well. It can be an annoyance. It can be helpful. It also can help Toastmasters with getting the word out, to be putting on a mailing list to their friends or their businesses and other Toastmasters. It is another level of communication. We need to start getting people outside of our circle of friends, coworkers, and employees. We need to spread those circles larger. How do we do that? With social engagements, networking, sports events, and a whole other raft of places that we can meet people. One of the things about social engagements, I had a couple of ideas, which may or may not work, but I'm going to throw them out anyway. No matter where you are, as an example, I'm going to use Halifax area. I was mentioning that we should have a barbecue sometime this summer before the kids go back to school. And we make it a Toastmasters barbecue and their families. So if you can get clubs in your area together so nobody has to travel a great distance, and it becomes an event in the park, but it's a Toastmasters event. So you're in exposure of being around the public. They get to see who we are, and we can show them what we can do. So yes, we can do the speeches and the table topics, but there needs to be an environment where we can express what we have to offer in addition to those, and how we can help their communities. So this is just one idea that thought would work. And I don't know, there are other things, like I was thinking about doing outdoor contests. That has its pros and cons, but it's something maybe to be looked at, or in an area where the general public go through, but is not necessarily a noisy place. That these are so that we can get out in the public and they see and understand more about how Toastmasters work and how we can help people in their professional lives and their personal lives. We need to get into business communities, Chamber of Commerce. I know a lot of people do this already. But we need to go to trade shows. And if the trade show situation is not viable for one club, maybe get together and share 2 or 3, 4 clubs in one trade show. And then if you have one person from each club, then they're represented, so nobody gets left out. And then cost shared. The other thing I was thinking, in rural Nova Scotia, rural anywhere, the self-employed people who are in very small communities where you have one gas station, one one pharmacy, one grocery store, whatever. These are all families that are trying to support themselves and their communities. They can't, if somebody gets sick, then they have trouble maintaining their business. But if we could group the communities together that are the closest, then they can be supportive to each other and maybe exchange ideas, maybe exchange products and services that would help each other out, but not necessarily get in everybody's face. And Toastmasters can do this and help everybody gain and improve their skills and make them stronger leaders. Membership retention. VP membership. I am the lady who writes an article in the Can-Am newsletter every month called Calling All VPMs. I started this because I wanted the input of the clubs and individual Toastmasters as to what worked for them in their clubs and in their areas. We have so much to share that's not getting out there. There are lots of positive things happening, but nobody's hearing about it. I want to create an international focus with this, and this is on a different level because I would like to have the VPMs or somebody in the club, if the VPM doesn't want to do it, contact me with what's worked for them and that they can show in a positive way how they grew from it. And we can highlight the person who came up with the idea to give them credit as well. We need to do this to help us grow into the 21st century. Toastmasters is a wonderful family, but we need to grow. It doesn't happen overnight, and we need to get people involved, motivated, and inspired to do it. Will it be you? We need to have a very strong focus on what we do, both in our lives and professional and private, but we can be flexible as to how we get those goals. And the more flexible and adaptable we can be, sometimes the result is a lot better than we ever anticipated it would be. Expanding clubs. There are many new ways and old ways of expanding clubs. There are two. In some areas, I imagine there is more evident than others. In Nova Scotia, we have a very large and growing immigrant population, which is wonderful. I've been working with a government agency and in a volunteer area 2 years ago, and that's what sort of gave me the idea, but I didn't know where to go with it at the time. We had 250,000 new immigrants arrive on our shores 2 years ago. Last year it was 350,000 plus, and I have no idea what the amount's going to be this year. They go through a 6-month progress on how to adjust to their new environment, and they also learn language skills, in particular English, because some of them come here with no English at all. How Toastmasters can help is be a supportive group for them. It ranges with the new immigrants. They have their skill level can be anywhere from farmer up to a college graduate or higher, or somebody who's owned a business in their old country. Not only in adjusting to a new way of life and to a new culture, if we can support them by helping them with their language skills and also giving them confidence and communication and the leadership skills, it'll give them a boost and give them a safer place to fall where there's no criticism on what they have learned or how they say things or if their English isn't quite right. I would like to create an international task force to do this, one person in each state and one person in each province. Give it some thought, spread the word, and see if anybody would like to assist in this project. Military in Canada, we have a large population of military in this province, which is great, and they have a large family resource center. They also, in this area, have started, I understand, a new Toastmasters chapter. So welcome, Shearwater. But for people who aren't part of that process, we can help the wives and children who are of working age assist them in getting jobs through Toastmasters, in the sense we can help them with their resumes and how to present them and give them all the skills that they need to do a better job, and help them get a better way of understanding and dealing with how business works in this area. Again, with the people coming to our shores, whether they have English or not, they can still sense how they feel about you and how you feel about them. We need to find out how they feel about us. We need to ask them, either through an interpreter or through their broken English at times. But that's okay. It's all part of the process of how they learn, how they get stronger. We need to change the stereotype and the impact of how it is on ourselves and how it is on them. So there are people out there in the immigration world that can help us, and there are cultures, whether it's Arabic or whether it's Asian, they can help us with this. And they need a lot of praise and showing how they can be accepted here. One thing I'd like to suggest is a theme meeting. Is Sharon Forberger on the call by any chance? Didn't think so. Okay. Sharon's club, Gracefully Speaking, came up with an idea for a theme night, one of a few, but I'll only talk about one. It was, It was called Banker. And how that came about was because dues were supposed to be, dues were supposed to be collected in March, and she thought it was perfect timing. They had a meeting about accounting and theme of Banker and how financials work. I was hoping she'd be on the call so she could explain more about it. I am going to get more information about it, and I will put it in the VPM next newsletter, so look for it, please. We can do it based on the career development skill asset, career development skills page, and how we can work on setting up theme meetings, whether they're for sales, accounting, management, and then we invite the community that has in it the group of salespeople or accounting or management. And this is one way we can help our communities grow, and the people who are looking for jobs in those fields, make them feel the confidence in communication and leadership skills. Also through workshops, discussions, and lectures. We need to get the word out through Chamber of Commerce, through community business groups, whether it is community associations or a couple of businesses just together that have decided to pool the resources. Where are we going next? The new direction. We want to see what is out there that we can help our communities and our personal lives to make the best impact in all areas and go in a new direction. And also include the public speaking, because that is a large part of who we are. But we need to show that we have other tools in our toolbox that we can help everyone with. Are there any questions? Hello? Are there any questions?
It's Shane here. So you've got some great points, Carolyn, but what are we like? There's something missing. What are we? It's the how. My question is the how.
Okay, we can do this how? Through theme meetings. For instance, if we picked sales as an example, we develop a theme meeting around sales. And we can use I think Pathways has such a topic on sales. Because I know there's one on many things, but and also on management and report writing and a whole lot of other things. So that we have to find out, that's what I was saying to you, is we have to find out what the gems are that we can put in these meetings to get from people in the community on what they're looking for in people and how that we can help give them the skills that they give them the confidence and the communication and the leaderships they need to do that. We can do that through theme meetings. We can do that through workshops. We can do it through lectures.
Okay.
But they have to
And
be focused.
Where do we find them? How do we contact them?
Information sessions. Toastmasters gets out to business groups, chambers, and does information sessions.
So open houses.
That too. But go and do a presentation at Chamber of Commerce, for instance, or a business community association. It's
So all of that
twofold.
says,
It's twofold.
all of that says, I think you presented some interesting thoughts for us to consider and apply to our particular clubs and communities.
Great. Thanks very much. Sherry, you still? Yeah, Sherry, you're still here. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. Could you please tell everyone when you and Aaron did the TLI, the good things that you guys did that helped go along smoother and gave a different presentation?
You put me on the spot here, Carolyn.
Sorry about that.
The one big thing that I'll comment on one thing, and the one big thing was the registration and the process in which members registers. Historically there was always been confusion, lineups, that kind of thing at the table. And this year we did it completely different, and we had a lot of positive feedback. One other thing that we also received a lot of feedback on were the education sessions that we had. We presented an evaluation session, and we also presented parliamentary procedure. And we had a lot of positive feedback on that as well.
Great, thanks very much, Sherry. No, I wanted to come from you and not from me because it was your baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So between the open houses, Shane, and the information center, we're not going to get businesses to come to open houses. So we have to go to them. But a combination of both. Because if we can get them organized and we do the presentation a month or so before an open house, then we can get them hopefully through the door. But it's not a standalone thing. It has to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Because the business community is not coming to our doors. I did with Sherry Women's Day last year, and I talked to lots of people there, but I didn't get them through the door. So I got to go back and do it again. I don't mean that. I have to go to the business association meetings in chamber and do a different type of presentation, because I did it about public speaking, but not everybody's into that. So we have to expand our possibilities and show how we can build the confidence and other skills. And that's through Toastmasters and the Now Pathways program. I think instead of going through the whole program, if we can show them different areas, I don't know, this is just an idea I'm throwing out there, of what they're interested in. They go through that process of what they're interested in, and then they could span through the rest of Pathways and do other programs that will help their ideas and how they do things and give them the leadership skills.
Okay. Good.
Anyone else have any questions or thoughts? I'm going to start getting more information on. There are things I believe that are happening out there in our clubs that are not getting to all the clubs in the district, and I have a couple of ideas on how I'm going to try and get people to be more forthcoming about what their club is doing. Even if they put their wins, what they've done in the club and how they've improved the club, start by putting it on their own websites and say, hey, we tried this and this is what worked. And then we can check out each other's website as well as the district website. But as a place to start with their own website, because they should be proud of their accomplishments and how they got their club to grow. And as far as the new population that were coming to our shores, I think that they will be very happy to know that they can have a support group that will help them in addition to their families and their culture, but will help them on the new way of life and the fact that they have to speak English now and they have a new culture to deal with. And if we can give them confidence in the communication skills and the leadership skills to find better jobs and build their confidence that way, I think that they will be off to a better start, and hopefully that they will spread the word through their cultures that, hey, Toastmasters help me, maybe can help you. Is anyone here from the United States? Yes, you are. Olivet, you are. Olivet.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Question. Do you have many dreamers that are in your state, or do you know? Or
You know our president?
yes, I know.
Yeah.
Very limited to
Say no
none,
more.
correct?
Say no more.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Is there anything that is left unclear, or I didn't bring it through to create an idea or motivation or inspiration to take the information that you received tonight forward into your clubs? Is it a better way that it could have been presented? Thanks,
Maybe
Linda.
use a slide or two in your D45 newsletter column.
D45. Okay. Of what? What do you want to see?
The slides that you showed us.
This is
Perhaps you might choose I like the tree.
Okay.
Maybe you could make a small picture of the tree and publish that.
Okay. Two things are going to happen. This webinar is going to be posted on YouTube, so you can go see it anytime. And two is I'll talk to Shane and see if we can either put it in Google Docs where I will give both sides, like the tree and the career assessment. So when you print it off, you'll have both together.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how to do that, but I will find out how to do it.
Okay.
Thank you. Because I think I couldn't believe the number of people when I did that, how the connection was made. I thought it would have a few people, but I didn't think that a large number were interested. And people told me later that people were talking about it in the audience. And I said, well, that's great. It got people talking. So that's good. And that's what we do best, right? Toastmasters.
Try to shut us up.
Any other ideas or things that people would like to see? Well, that being the case, I have two last slides, but I'm going to show you now. One is from Reba McIntyre, and the other is my contact information. So if anybody would like to send me an email, I would be happy to receive it and get back to you. Hang on 1 minute, please. I couldn't resist when I saw that. We all need all three of these, sometimes in more than once in a day.
Nice.
Sugar.
Linda Ramarath wrote, we have a list of nonprofits in our community. We are going two by two to each nonprofit to tell how Toastmasters helped us and how it can help you take a leadership role in your nonprofit.
Okay. Sounds great.
So that's a good idea.
It is. Why can't I get rid of this? I'm in a place I can't get. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we're about to wrap this up. I want to thank you, Carolyn, for taking your time and delivering this presentation.
I can't seem to get out of where I am. So my email information is all lowercase, all run together. CarolynPower3300@gmail.com. Thank you, Shane, for having me. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Look forward to seeing you in May. Take care. Bye for now.